if it's a cell phone, but it seemed to go through. Did you receive a text from me? Yeah, that's the only one I had. Okay, because I know one of the things that I was asking about is if you're still in any. I believe you knew Bev Clark and the Geniacs. Yeah. Okay.
I think, yeah. I didn't know Beth very well, but I do get Deb and
Yeah, and do you? I mean, I guess with the business that you run, you see a lot of the people you know just because they come there, and I know. Oh, really? Eh? Yeah, I know they're getting up there in age, and gotta wonder about their health too. I guess. Yeah. But oh well, yeah, and yeah, Bev, you said she's running the. Do you still have much involvement with the agency anymore?
Oh, no, not at all.
Hmm.
Once we took over the business,
So Jim doesn't get a benefit from that from what they would offer, or too hard. Sure, yeah, too probably for him. Yeah, and I think it's probably a lot for kids, but. I don't know, but I seem to remember, and I don't remember a lot of details, but that my mother and that my parents actually helped kind of get them started. Yeah. See, I knew that you had some sort of involvement there, but I otherwise, only because my mother mentioned it, I otherwise don't think I really remembered it. That doesn't sound familiar. Okay, I don't think I knew a lot of the people on the board, but cool. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for calling. Yeah, Canada Post said that it was only going to be 3 days. Almost hard to fathom that, but and of course, well, the postal strike lifted, but there was the postal strike for a while there. But yeah, so I'm probably going to get it this week sometime, and you know, honestly, it was they are fairly priced. It's just things are a bit tight right now, and so I hadn't figured it out. But I've done it online, so that's fine. I think it was like $11, 11 something bucks, so that's not bad. That's right. Oh, okay, $5. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm happy about that as well. Yeah, cool. Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize. I mean, I only knew of the one locally, but now I know. You know, there's all over. So otherwise, everything's been going pretty well. Good. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay, thanks for taking time to call. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, bye. Okay, so we actually talked for, and she said no problem, thanks for calling, and she totally remembered me. I don't know if I want to roll or not. I have it on this screen. I'd have to bring it over here and then bring it back over there. I was really just wanting to keep a version of that to look back at. But then I kind of didn't start right away. I was just processing. You know, she seemed open, or unfortunately, it doesn't show call display. That's weird. It's supposed to show the calls that have recently called. If she hadn't reached me, she probably would have left a message. It's warm up here. I don't know why I'm warm right now. I mean, I know I'm wearing this, but I was comfortable in this until recently. Honestly, though, after doing that call, I'll say this much. Well, she has staff that help operate her business, so she was able to make the call. I suppose if I intrigued her enough with telling her, I didn't outright say medium. I did say that I sensed her spouse a little bit, and I couldn't remember the details at the moment. I did say that, not emphasized, but so I suppose if she's curious, or it sounded like she did believe life goes on in a different way. And I suppose, yeah, it's not displaying the number, and I didn't think to note it down when she called. And redial only redials numbers I've called, and she called. But oh yeah, she didn't really say a lot about Zobrist, but then said, "I'm sorry." Yeah, it did not save her number, and I don't know what to make of that. Point of the matter is, though, like she can talk for 10 or 15 minutes. She's got to make sure that, first of all, there's lots of people that stop by her business that she wants to see. She's also got to make sure that that people are, that if anything's needed to be brought, you know, they can only store so much in the area they work in, so they keep the rest of it somewhere else, somewhere. So, she might be the runner mostly for their business. And I wish I had gotten a way of staying in contact with her. She didn't seem to be asking for a way of contacting my mother, but then I did say the things I said about, but I did say emailed her. So she might call me back asking for that. She might not, about her partner. She might not. It's one of those type of connections. I wanted to be able to kind of refer back to the conversation because it's not someone I talk to very often, and it's special to me. I didn't know where to put it, so I was going to put it here a little bit, but it's fine. But yeah, basically, truly though, she probably is one of those type of connections. Two things: one, where she doesn't know, and I think the heat's off. No, this heat's off. I don't know why I'm so warm. She doesn't know, or she doesn't have a lot of time. And two, I'm not really sure there's a whole lot else to talk about, unless he wants a session. I'm really not sure if there's all that much to talk about. I gave my condolences about her partner. She mentioned a last name that wasn't familiar to me. Ironic that it sounded like it had March in it, and we're on the last day of March, but it's unfortunate that she wasn't closer to Bev or Virginia. Well, if they don't go there, anywhere if they do, no guarantee they'd run into each other. She mentioned Marie. I should have asked her about the other one I know, because I'm not really in contact with and which isn't online very much. But I don't want to start thinking too much because I'm only going to think, oh, wanted to ask this, I wanted to ask that. I mean, I can do it that way, and maybe next time be better about making note of it. I can call the workplace. Like that was just, I believe, Saturday night. Yeah, because I feel like I waited a day, and it's about 11 o'clock here, which is about 12 o'clock. 12:30. Well, it was almost noon there. Actually, I'm surprised, but like she said, she had staff. But yeah, it was only a day. Not bad. And if I need to, I will reach out again. I think her husband's happy that I made that connection. I was typing a bit. It's been about a little past an hour and a half, I think, since my meeting that I had this morning. But I don't know what that is. Guess it's a screenshot. I don't know if I really need to do much else in this video. Part of me feels, make it worth doing the video. But the only thing I kind of think of, aside from, I don't know, maybe there's been something interesting you might want to talk about from what I've said already, but I don't know, is kind of share some of the nice things my friend Ray was saying to me spiritually. And some reminders about life, about how, sometimes in making connections, we have to take a risk to, get the goodness that can come from it. And also realizing also that some connections just can't be for whatever reason. The person is not as good at juggling what they're going through or whatever, and maybe has some health problems or whatever. I would say that she's made me feel a little bit more comfortable about reaching out to no, because you can't search a name in a block list, and it certainly wasn't recent, but it was when that thing happened. Hello, viewer, welcome. I need to take a sip of water in a moment, but we have two people. Welcome to both of you. And basically, this is very kind of impromptu. I mean, they often are. It's ironic that I'm wearing rings on my shirt, and just kind of fully processing that now as you both go, because you flew away. No, just kidding. I would really like people that see this after the fact, since there's nobody here now. And I don't know if I've ever thought to ask while there was currently somebody watching, but can people tune out? Like, I can only do so much. But and it's maybe a little bit different if I'm sitting in this chair a little bit further back and maybe a little bit lower. And this has been watched. Can people tune out the stuff behind me? I mean, I guess that's a matter of who we're asking. I usually can, but I do sometimes wonder if it's distracting people. Maybe if I just dance more. No, just kidding. But I really should be doing more stretches. And I don't know. Today it looks like a nice enough day, to be quite honest. Whoops. I think it was supposed to be a mix of sun and cloud. But other than that, and I think she said that they're possibly getting rain down there, so maybe it's just not simply all that busy there. There's a plus sign in the cloud for some weird reason, which like somebody said something about seeing a heart inside another heart in a cloud or something like that. In a group post. Tomorrow looks even cloudier. About the same temperature, a degree off from each other. Thursday's looking, I don't know. Right now, physically, I don't feel like up to bringing my bike, and I might need more than $20 to have on me at the moment. I don't have a great right now. So, it's not going to be today, but that's fine. I've had an appointment. I had that nice call. Have a few other nice chats here and there. I should try and get out. One thing I could start doing, actually, come to think of it, is it's not a lot nicer out yet, but maybe start going out with that way. I can get the corner. Just kind of, try not to make it obvious necessarily, but just, yeah. Can't say I could do it all the time and with my health, but it could be nice to start doing the dog walks together as a kid. And then there's a couple people that I'm ever so slightly, maybe possibly anxious as well. Honestly, I think it's other people involved in a situation that wouldn't do any harm other than, kind of misjudging me and to my feelings and routine. But they might think, oh, maybe it doesn't belong to both of them, though. I don't know. I don't know what the vibe was that you got from that happening. You think, oh, they could be, and that's a dog, or maybe they're not. I know where that dog lives. I don't know if he lives there too. But then serendipity would probably tell them so. But without the shoes and maybe without the hat, I don't know if I'm that recognizable. I don't know. Anywho, right now my chest is kind of tight. My back is on the verge. My sides are on the verge of the tenderness again that I've been feeling. So, and he doesn't need extra walks. He gets 3 a day, the dog, so that's good enough. He's easily noticeable because of the glue, though. That's the thing. So somebody hollers. But I don't have to leave the house to see there and just say, hurry back, hurry back. And actually, if they saw us do that, we had a bit of neighbors recently, texts, then it would be kind of like, okay, he's trying to get him to kind of avoid noticing us, perhaps. And they might think that's fine. We don't want to be noticed, you know. And that would actually solidify. Hoping that just, I hope I am jinxing it in this case. Solidify that, therefore don't say anything, and then you won't probably say anything to them. Maybe a quick wave. You maybe still show that decency, but dumb as heck. And I don't know. At least I thought, but anywho, I don't know what else to say. There's nobody here at the moment. Still feel like I have a bit of a scrape on my gums or a bit of inflammation, so talking too much in my throat. I'm surprised. I had a bit of woke up with a bit of a sore, kind of swollen feeling throat. Had some coffee, didn't seem to help all that much. Then I had a meeting, and I was doing a majority of the talking for the most part. And oddly, it felt a little bit better. Now it's kind of so, but it's a bit more in my chest now, the sore feeling. So I should probably, but, so I think messages, to keep in the theme, not that it's all I post about. Sometimes it'll be music, sometimes it's topic suggestions or whatever. But channeling is definitely one of those things that I think, even though I'm not feeling any presences around now, I would say that, and really haven't in this video, although right before she called, I was feeling right. Pretty much right before. I would say that, yeah, I guess it'd be locals watching that. I can't do anything about that. You just gotta love and respect each other, right? But yeah, most do. Maybe some don't know better. But the thing about, if you want something bad enough, you'll take a risk to bring something good into your life. That we might, I think the takeaways to this short little video are going to be, we might not always know. We might be sometimes making assumptions that aren't right about somebody or a situation. We know no better sometimes, and it makes sense that we do it a little bit. And that sometimes you just have to have acceptance with things. The Bobby situation that I was telling, maybe she'll email me someday. I know, I can say I know in my heart. It may have been just after the funeral, but I did actually post something. What I went through personally, aside from shock and grief, was realizing, oh my gosh, this is someone I was fairly close with. I haven't been to a funeral in a while. Sometimes I've not been in province. Sometimes I've found out well after, because you can't know everything, but in good timing. And I was kind of alluding to, but not alluding to, that I need to write. I think I commented on two people's posts. I actually got them to delete 2 or 3 of them, but they were probably there for a few days. The funeral home. But I did decide, rather than just trying to reconnect with this one person, I guess because it was the reply option, to post a condolence. I've also done my own healing and type of connection that I feel is there, and actually, but I yeah. I do have just before, but I don't feel like I have as much to have with my coffee afterwards. So I'd really kind of rather eat later tonight, but we'll see. but it's supposed to be cloudy and it's not, but whatever. But I think I'm going to open the door downstairs for a little bit, cool things off, because right now I'm kind of, well, it's like I feel almost like a slight fever. I am a bit warm, but my feet are kind of cold. I don't know. But, and yeah, like going through that situation where I might not have a reconnection with somebody who doesn't hate me. It just might not happen, at this point in time in life or in this life. And it's, I think Ray said that, that she might not be capable of, this person may not be capable of a connection right now with what they're going through. But we both know that she cares about me. And that helps. But it's also kind of like, it's too bad then because she cares about me. And at this point in time in my life, I just feel like I'm not as connected as I was in my younger days. It's something you maybe experience as you get older, but it depends who you are, and it's a thing that happens sometimes in life, and then so it doesn't other times, right? And so it's kind of like, and also knowing that things are a struggle for her, wishing I could help, maybe she could help me, depending. Um, Both matter. But if I don't get here, if she doesn't ever notice that comment and email me back, there's no way to do it. There's no way to do it because since then I've realized that yes, it's a bit awkward the only other way, except for the fact, and I think actually I did a video once actually where, and it's not to say that I wasn't good, it's just I think I started getting too much into my own head, and then after I tried a few and wasn't successful, although I think I only reached 2 people out of like 7 or 8 tries, a couple of not in service numbers. I thought it was going to try and give me the number because I think she kind of wants me to have it. And so I remember a few videos ago, I was trying to random numbers to see if I could, but I'm only so tenacious with doing that kind of thing. I'm not trying to be a prankster necessarily, I'm trying to see if I can actually connect to this person. And like I say, I feel like she's since told me that maybe this person isn't really capable of maintaining a connection right now. And you know what? I do feel like she's kind of back. She's like, I visited you earlier, just quickly in passing. You always got me, bud. You always got me. I got you, babe. Just kidding. So, and other loved ones too. It's been a long time since I've heard from maybe once recently. The one thing I might like her to know is of my channel, but I don't think she's one that would spend a lot of time um, watching YouTube videos. And I don't know about her kids. I mean, they were pretty much, I don't want to say forced into the business. And for all I know, some of them don't. Well, one of them isn't local anymore to them. I bet Jim doesn't. I don't know if the two girls do or not. But I know that I sent a message to somebody and passed along my email, but then I said I left a message at the business. It wasn't sure she'd ever get it. And then or something. It was a shorter message. I tried to send another one that didn't send through. But so I don't know if she'll eventually end up with my email address. But you know what? Like I say, in talking with her, nice as it was, I'm not really sure we have a whole lot else to talk about with her. I would love to possibly offer her a session with Mike. And the thing of the matter is that she does make some pretty good money. She does have some other people she has to pay, but she has some pretty good money. Makes some pretty. It's not just about that though. I mean, I deserve employment income as much as a lot of people, and I have some challenges kind of with mainstream. So I mean, and it's not like I feel like she's struggling. It is kind of true, and I think she might be religious, kind of, sort of. It is kind of true that and you got to understand that people are going to have different beliefs sometimes. So as long as you're respectful. When I said that I kind of felt him around me, I don't know if she was jealous at all of that, but she didn't say, "Oh, cool. Oh, neat." Like, "Oh, yeah," I think, or something like that. Or, So, but she is fairly busy. So, I feel weird trying to call again. There are some people I might think about sometimes from my hometown that she maybe does see at her business often. I mean, the ones that we were talking about, they lived a little further away. Not far, but probably an hour away. But like one thing that seems pretty strong is that her partner would possibly like to do a session with her, her late partner. But I think he understands that they're busy as well. And just because I think it might be nice doesn't mean that it's something she'd want to do. It's true. As far as mentioning, haven't heard from my dad. No, the thing is, even when we don't hear from our loved ones, they're always with us. I do feel like my system is telling me, though, that I should slow down for a bit. And I've eaten not bad today, but maybe eat a little more. But yeah, and once I have the shirt, it not only advertises mental health and something about me and my hometown, it also, lo and behold, maybe while wearing it sometimes, I'll say, "Oh yeah, I've been there. I'm from that area, or I know the person, and this and that." And she showed that she was willing to call me, that she remembered me, that she was open to a quick conversation. Um, Interestingly, and it's hard because when these happen, like this is the second person. I didn't know him as well, but second person who is a relative to someone. I'm going to wrap up soon. I really feel like I need to, but I don't think this is going to be an hour, but who knows? Where it's kind of like they visit me, and I feel like, but sometimes it is just for me, and to show that it's possible here. Um, because I do send him around at the moment, just saying I'm really glad that you guys made that connection today. Um, At first, I thought he was going to say that I got to hear her voice too, but he hears her voice all the time in his own way. So that was more me saying, that it was nice to hear her again. It's just a reminder, sir, that you are cared about. You know, I think you know it, but I think sometimes you got to be reminded of it. And I just wanted you to know that my wife cares about you and your family, and that I care, and I'm glad that you have a loving home and filled with happiness, love, and music for the most part. And but you can't you can't make something happen that isn't meant to happen, or you can't necessarily force things. And I wouldn't be trying to. He says, would I like for you to do a session with me and my wife and perhaps my other kids? Sure, that could be cool. That could be fun. That could help. But don't count on it happening because I've already said, I have already said that they're probably too busy. When she reacted the way she did about what I said, um, that was either truly agreeing or not wanting to disagree and get disagreement with me. You know, some people aren't as aware as other people, But I really think that it makes a lot of sense to think that. Sorry, I'm crossing my arms. It's just something I do sometimes. We get welcome to the presentation. Didn't the only one here at the moment. But yeah, I think it makes it. I think it is comforting to think, as the viewer goes, but that life goes on in a different way, and that they're with us, showing us signs, symbols, sometimes messages, and anyone who's loved somebody will always, get them and notice them when the times are right for them to do so. I was going to change it, but yeah, I'm just hanging around the house, and so far have not. But this is clean. But I keep thinking it's a certain something else. So, but and he says, "Yeah, I'm never leaving my family's side. I may have passed away, but I'm not leaving them. I did that in a pretty tragic way once already, and so yeah, for sure I'm with them." And he says, even though it doesn't seem like they always feel that, he says, I think that's understandable, but they do feel it fairly often. That's all I could want. He says, I'm sorry, dude, if that means that you can't do a session with them. But again, like I say, you can't force it. I mean, and again, I'm not intending to. I don't even know. Like I say, she called, but the number, and this is an old landline, so old, it's got duct tape on the back of it. Well, again, but so it oddly didn't show the number, which is weird because I was looking at the call out, and it wasn't a privated number either. I saw the area code. Maybe because it only rang once or something like that. It just didn't save. Meanwhile, I can plug in a number. I can call a number and only ring once, and I think it usually saves. So I don't know. But again, I think he's just kind of saying, that's just to let you know that, like, that's all that it may be, sir. He says it's just a reminder that you're cared about, you matter. I mean, yeah, I had my appointment earlier today. He says, you know what, but it's good for any of us to have, especially when we're going through hard times, to be making contact with various people throughout our days. And so he actually, I feel, is interestingly telling me, I hadn't expected any of this, but he's telling me, I helped that happen for you. So thanks, Mike. He says, not a problem, sir. With all these sirs, just kidding. He's like, sorry. Sorry, find me this. With the cherry on the top. Sorry, with the cherry on the top. He says, you didn't know me well enough to necessarily watch for signs. I was going to say maybe sometime when you're out getting an ice cream or whatever, I'll make myself known. But I don't know if I'd want that in public. It doesn't seem to happen very often in public, or I'm too distracted by other things. He says, that's okay. That's fair. He says, I'm going to wrap up soon because I really need to, but it was hard for me to hear about his son. And he says, it's hard for me to hear it. He gets it. He gets it. And he says he sometimes struggles to talk about his feelings. He takes after him that way, he says. Why be like that? There's not a whole lot of reason, sir, he says. But and it's very interesting, these spirits, because I mean, a lot of spirits don't call me that. I mean, I didn't know him usually well, but he's like, I can stop if you'd like me to, and it's fine. But he says, I hope what you said to her will be a reminder to them all. It's hard, though. It's one of those things, eh? It's hard because when we feel life goes on and like, in a way, it's one thing to think, oh, we'll never see them again, and so no point hoping for it, in other words. And some people not knowing where they might go when they pass away, some people think that they'll be damned. I think sometimes we're damned enough in life, whether they believe in heaven or not. Unless you've had experiences, the believing in it may be a bit harder to do. It's true. If I hadn't had my experiences, I mean, from a young age, well, when Dad passed away, but in general, I remember a book my mother gave me once. I think it was called, I want to say Heaven's for Real, but that's a movie. And the book had a girl in it, and the movie had a boy in it, but it could have been an adaptation. Anywho, I was not super strongly, and at one point in time, we watched some of the TV ones, but then my mother didn't be listening to them for a while there, but, you know, um, and it's all kind of brought me to where, I sense things myself for the past 12 years or so. Sometimes not super often, but I do. And even in small ways. And yeah, it's quite lovely, but it's interesting to think if I didn't, or if I wasn't this, or if I wasn't that. I think I'm a pretty open-minded person. I know I am. But and she said he was on the higher end of the spectrum. That's interesting. It's not yeah, come to think of it, I almost came across as being a little bit, I mean, she knows him. True thing is that she knows him better than I do, but I could have came across as a little bit rude, but I wasn't going to say, oh, he absolutely was. But she seemed a little bit surprised to say that I thought maybe he'd been bullied. I hadn't seen anything, and obviously it would have been many years ago, many years ago. But, she's just, I could hear in her voice that she sounded like a tired person. The things that she's going through in life, the business that she's, keeping up with. And I did get to relay that a little bit, but maybe she's just a more positive person in the sense of, yeah, my kids may have, adult kids now, may have difficulties, but I'm not going to focus on them. And I'm very thankful, then and the few people in my life that don't, because like my mother kind of did, you know what I mean? And or certainly didn't focus on the strengths, but you know what? You can focus on the strengths as much as you want. If you're not getting to utilize them and utilize them in really purposeful ways often enough, I mean, sure, I can utilize them for myself at this challenge, but it kind of. But anyway, I don't want this to get too long, but yeah, it's interesting to think if I hadn't had those experiences, would I believe them? There are a lot of people that make things up in this world and lie and this and that, but I try not to think that people do that. Or I try to think that people don't do that. Or if they're doing it, they're not doing it if they're intent. And so if I didn't have those abilities and someone was to tell me they did, I'd probably say, okay, cool. Tell me about it. Just so happens that I do. So the curiosity is a bit, not necessarily surprised if someone was to say that, but the curiosity might be a bit more. I don't know. But it's that hard thing, especially if you have a disability or you're young or whatever it is, of knowing that, there is more waiting for us and loved ones waiting for us. But, just to summarize this and again, not make this video too much longer, I think, also realizing the good and the beauty that's in the world and enjoying that as well. And making the most of a life while we have it. So I think that's a pretty good spot to wrap things up. But the guy's saying, yeah, I've got to go actually, but you did a really good job on this video, bud. And I was here. Even if it didn't show me along the top, I was here. And he actually just said you're doing your dad proud. He says, you've got a good head on your shoulders, and I hope that life starts to be kind to you again, and that, you keep enjoying the good things like you say, and that things only get better for you. I'm going to try and meet up with your dad in a few days for coffee or lunch or something, and he's always with you. So you know, even if you don't necessarily feel that super strongly as with your other loved ones, it's very interesting. I think I was still kind of half waking up. Was it this morning? Yeah, I think it was. And I suddenly thought about how long the grandparents had been gone, and it's very interesting how that kind of came up. She asked what made us move out here. It's ironic because I also asked that in a post in the same group that I posted about trying to connect with them. I don't feel them often, but my grandpa was quiet. My grandmother so. But stay tuned. I might do a grandparents one later. It would have been really ironic if my grandpa's name was Steve, because I was watching The Price is Right the other day and somebody said, "Hi, Grandpa Steve," and it said it on his shirt, and then he came up again at the wheel. And also somebody that I was watching earlier today was really kind of, I want to say dramatic, but kind of, but she said, "I don't know," but that doesn't mean another living, I suppose. But yeah, so it's, yeah. So anyway, I'm wrapping this up, but enjoy the little things. I hope that you'll see this video and enjoy them from time to time, and take care.